Hello everyone, how are we doing today? So I am just waiting on a couple of things on my computer to finish, but we will get working on our next bit of our Stellaris live stream in a minute. Hope everyone had a good weekend. It's a bank holiday here in the UK, so I've had a nice little day off of rest and relaxation. So let's load up into our game. So we ended off last episode, like we seem to be doing every single episode, winning a war against some of our neighbours after they declared war on us. We basically swept in, took half their territory, and that was a done deal. So we gained all of this stuff that is below Vermilion here, and that all belongs to us now. Of course, we have a truce with the Proralgavors for the next 10 years because of this. So we are probably going to turn our attention either northwards or westwards. Both of these empires here report that they have a fleet that is equivalent to ours, though we are at pretty much about half of our naval capacity due to having just finished up that war. So we will be rebuilding that a little bit while we basically prepare ourselves for the next war. So we have our transport fleet, which I will send to the nearest station to recover. And let's have a look at our fleets. So we have one, or can remove that, and we can probably start just staffing all of our fleets with cruisers. And I still have to laugh at the fact that we have a battleship, even though we can't actually build a battleship. I didn't actually have an opportunity to re-look at my video afterwards last time, but I definitely think that what I said had happened was what had happened, in that the Proralgavors were busy building up a battleship to reinforce their fleets last time, and we managed to get a hold of the station that was building the battleship before it finished. And when it had finished, because we owned that station, it became ours. So anyway, we have a naval capacity of 99. So how much can we get away with? It looks like 11 cruisers on each fleet looks fine. And we will need... we've got plenty of exotic gases, and we will, though, need about... what is that? 1.7 to 1.8 alloys. How much are they going for on the market? They are going for relatively little. And just before we do that, we have a bit of unemployment. So let's see, we can upgrade our administrative building, which would require 1 rare crystal. We can do that without issue. We can change our reassembled ship settler. We can upgrade that. We can't upgrade that just yet. You are working on a precinct house because, yes, your crime is at 100%. So we're going to have to need to get that down. And similarly here, your crime is at 61%. So if we demolish the research labs, no, okay, we don't have enough space to actually have a new building. So if we replace this similarly with a precinct house, that will also help to get the crime level down, though there is a mass amount of jobs needed for both of these planets. And this one looks to be okay, but we could benefit from a new generator district. So if we go over to the market and just buy ourselves a few hundred crystals, or minerals just to get us up. Yes, I know we've got a low stockpile. And go back to here so we can build that for 300. And we need to find a way. So what is being consumed? So probably the main thing is because we are 1 over our starbase limit, which is not going to be fun because you get absolutely slaughtered if your star bases are over your limit. So I would really like to keep the ones here we have in Up Farvis and Isvera, just because if the Provalgavors come through, those are going to be some sort of choke point, similar with Vermilion and Ziamon. But I think if they get that far, then we should be able to reinforce from Gitana and Ditanau anyway. So downgrade the one in Lazon. If I change my mind, we can obviously bring that one back up. So that has, yep, there we go. That's pretty much as I thought. Our energy deficit was pretty much solely because, oh dear, solely because of that extra station we had. Destican High Kingdom has now guaranteed the independence of the Provalgavor Mercantile Union. They will now defend them against all attacks. Okay, so the galaxy is starting to heat up a little bit. They are realizing that I may be a tiny bit of a threat. So what are these saying? Okay, building slots, which I'm not going to worry about too much. Okay, so we can upgrade our civilian. Okay, I will upgrade the administration center and again administration center, because this seems to be the easiest thing to do for those buildings. So we have, okay, this looks like our, yes, this was our newest or most newly colonized system. So what do I want here? I think yeah, if we wait until we get some more minerals back, I will just put in another admin office. I know being over your administrative capacity is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I'd rather we manage that a bit more effectively. And speaking of management, we do have quite a lot of debris from our last battle, so I can go through that. Hey there, Rob Santix. I'm glad you were able to watch the backlog on YouTube. I hope it's been interesting enough for you. And let's see if we can actually get through another episode without someone else declaring war on us. Okay, so how are we doing? So if we basically, I think we will just reinforce our first fleet with as much as we can and send them back to our nearest starbase to get repaired. And you probably want to be similarly repaired as well. We have our exotic gas construction done, so let's see. I think we'll go for the quantum energy states. As we have seen, we are kind of tentatively, or have some tentative issues with our energy capacity. That will hopefully just go through and ensure that we have a bit more surplus on that as and when we need it. And yes, Rob, 292 Empire Sprawl versus 111 admin capacity. And if I actually hover over it, so we can see that the main thing that we're really being impacted by is the campaign cost and rare resource edicts, which are plus 162%, but I don't really worry about those. Tradition adoption cost is plus 97%, and our technology cost is plus 64%, which, at least for me, is just, well, it's manageable. So it does take us a bit longer to research stuff, but in my game settings I have it set to 0.75 times anyway, so it probably balances out to like the normal 1 speed, capacity, ability. I can't think about the right word for that, but it probably levels out to a different game where you've got it just on the default 1 times technology. So crime continues to be a problem on Jörgfinton, and an extensive criminal underworld has now taken root on the moon. Oh, that's interesting. So that one is where we were just building our precinct houses. And I'm curious. So it says... Okay, no, it's saying moon because this home planet is a moon. And yes, I am thinking about putting together some more bureaucrat administrative buildings to try and even out our empire sprawl against our administrative capacity. So you can see we've got the admin park on here and again on here, so those should hopefully give us some relief on that. And rising unemployment on Proval again. Because we've obviously taken these planets, they're not happy about it, so they are, well, loads of crime, loads of unemployment. So institute increased benefits, so unemployed pop consumer goods upkeep +2, or a few criminals are of no concern, which gives +15 crime, +1 criminal jobs, and an extra criminal job per 33 planet crime. Now, because Jörg Freedom just had this pop up, I'm going to increase the benefits. We have 8.4 consumer goods in the bank, so even if I have to balance things out a little bit, it should, again, like the energy, should be manageable. So let's go back to the Raxicodiums and see. Yep, we've built our fleet back up and they are now considered inferior. We have intel of 63 against them, which is pretty much the maximum that we can have. So do we want to go for try and steal a technology and hope we get something that's more advantageous to us than just getting a blocker clearer tech? Do we sabotage a starbase and arm privateers in the, or potential for us to, okay, so do we arm privateers, sabotage a starbase in preparation for going to war against them, or do we just keep things as they are at the moment? So starbases are now researched, and I think we will go for cruiser hull points on that. And you are complaining again that we are going to run out of energy credits. So what is the issue here? And ships, oh right, yes, because we're rebuilding our navy, so that is probably increasing that. So probably because this station doesn't actually have a crew quarters, so we can remedy that in a short while. Yes, Rob, so yeah, we did take a bunch of planets. Like I was explaining at the beginning, we did take this chunk of territory, and the Raxicodiums are indeed looking juicy. I can actually go over to our crisis screen. We are almost halfway to being a crisis level 2 system, which will be fun, because that means we can have a menacing corvette, however that changes in terms of okay, something just happened in the background. I'll get to that in a moment. Plus 30% damage against star bases and minus 75% war exhaustion gain, which is going to be interesting. Critical... Oh, okay, our energy just bottomed out, so we're going to need to fix that. Intel on Desticans is falling, probably potentially because we don't have any energy. And the Provalgavors have been given association status. So if we... I'm not saying we're going to panic sell, but we are going to make sure we have a few things available to us. So if we sell a few hundred of those, that should... This is why I stockpile rare resources. So monthly gain minus... I will pretty much call that minus 18. So what can we do here? So research labs, fabricator, more research labs. Though, even though we actually have a precinct house, we are still at 100% crime. That is going to be interesting to try and manage. Okay. We can slam down a couple of generator districts here. And unfortunately, everyone else is pretty much well and gainfully employed. But we sold a few things. Our consumer goods are going to be going down for a while. And let's see. So you are at maximum capacity now. So we need 4,000... 4,000 alloys, 14 gases and 11 rare crystals, so we are almost there. I think I will just hurry that along and buy a couple more alloys just to see if we can up ourselves up. Not quite. One more. Just one more. Yeah, I want to obviously keep my alloys that we have because we are running through quite a lot of them, but we have, as we can see here, like 2,800 rare crystals, 1,400 volatile motes. I have flooded the market a tiny bit with those, but again, in a pinch, it will be as we do. So I can reinforce all of those ships. And as we are going to be heading up against the Raxicodiums, I will change what stations that you are going to be placed at. And I think I will put both of them at Durascadon and send you across there, because it obviously is going to be quite a while to go halfway across the... Well, I was going to say galaxy, but no. Halfway across our empire, and we will also need to deal with the shard at some point. So, new physics research. So we can go for artisans output plus 10%. More research station output. That transit hub doesn't seem overly important in what I'm wanting for the moment. And plasma throwers, what do you do? So how am I finding the changes in 3.0 and Nemesis? Quite interesting. I'm aware that there's quite a lot of fuss and discussion about the population growth issues, but honestly, between the fact that, for one, I've not really played a game through to its absolute completion, and also the fact that I tend to have the game running for about 300 years at maximum, at least for the time being, I've not really found much of a difference in the population growth for myself. The espionage system, I think that is absolutely brilliant. Though I'm not sure how it goes on in terms of, like, obviously in the late game, we know, like, pretty much all the other empires around, but your envoys are going to be the limiting factor on that. So pretty much we've only really been able to get intel on our neighbours because of the fact that we only had 2, now 3 envoys. So it's a little bit more difficult to go through and actually see who has what, how powerful they are. So that may be something that means I have to increase the length of time I let a game run through, but we will just have to see on that. So anyway, back to the physics research. I was looking at the plasma thrower. So that does good damage against armor, plus 50% hull damage, though low, very low on shield damage. Remind me on the shard, like, what do you have? You do not have shields. Okay, so seeing as I was just talking about them, let's get the plasma throwers researched. So yeah, you are still telling me about... Oh, right. That would be why you suddenly stopped doing anything, and we will just have a random scientist come through and research these areas and see what technology we can pick up. And yeah, the espionage is definitely long overdue because politics has always been Stellaris' weakest area. Yeah, a good number of years ago, like we're probably talking 8 years ago, I used to play Galactic Civilizations 2, and the intel and espionage was one of the systems that I quite enjoyed on all of that. Okay, you briefly said that you were unemployed. Maybe you popped over to one of the other worlds. Hey. I've just realised why we have food. Because we've colonised a biological species, haven't we? I've just realised that. Right, that would be why we suddenly need a load of agricultural ones. But somehow we have 1 Raxicodium in the Empire. We have 1 Pensilan, which, yep, okay, you were uplifted. And you are tropical preference. Raxicodium's tropical preference, and obviously the Provalgivores. Now, I could actually see if we could modify you a tiny bit because we do have genetic options. And yes, the previous stream where I tried to kill the Shard Dragon with like 8,000 fleet power, yeah. This was probably like one of the few times I've really encountered the Shard, and like I said before, I did the Rubricator event chain like almost right as I was searching around and finding different places to colonize, so I may have been a bit over ambitious trying to think that I could actually go against it, because I'm not sure how strong it is actually supposed to be. I don't think so. We know the Trade League, but I don't think we know the oh, I'm trying to think of the right words, the ones that you can talk to and learn some of the like mysteries of the galaxy. I'm used to having them around and telling them how, and or them telling me how badly I'm going to get destroyed. Okay, seriously, I must be having people migrating across to different worlds, because I am seeing unemployment popping up on worlds, but by the time I go to them to sort things out, it goes, nope, all fine. Okay, so there is 21 jobs available there, but we have 11 unemployment. Now I'm just trying to figure out. So yeah, we do have a bunch of specialist jobs available, and that is definitely because the Provalgvors are considered chattel. So you know what, I'm going to be nice. You can have residency. So we can actually get those two planets back into some kind of productivity. So we have a new faction calling themselves the Internal Strength Coalition, advocating for closed borders and non-interference with galactic affairs. And then the Free Elections Initiative, which pretty much says what's on the tin, and the Alien Suffrage Lobby, and the oh my goodness. Okay, there has been a lot of new factions suddenly pop up. Okay, so let's have a look to... So we had the Alien Suffrage Lobby, so oh yes, they're the ones that want us to be all peace and love and friendship. No. So I will suppress that faction. So free elections. So anti-autocratic, free movement and reproductive freedoms. Internal strength. Disallowing. Okay, you're the ones that okay, nope, you are being suppressed as well. Don't want to deal with that. So hierarchical, which I'm doing okay on. Conclave of spiritualists are the ones that are basically anti-synths. Whetstones, they want us to be part of an imperial hegemony. And Leviathan slayers. Well, I'm working on that last one, okay? I'm working on that last one. And then Council of Higher Learning wants us to have synths. They are 20% versus 13%, so I might focus on that. And then obviously the Kroll Purity Front. So, again, slaying a Leviathan. Asserting dominance, so declaring war against one or more Xeno empires. And want our ruler to be of their species and be angered by any non-Kroll holding the position of warlord. Yes, this is an excessive amount of factions and a load of ones that are against our empire considerations, which I'm surprised about because 0% are pacifist, which is, I would consider like the Internal Strength Coalition to be headed by some kind of pacifist. But yes, that's going to be annoying. Thankfully, we are gaining 5 influence a month regardless. So 1.2 from factions and 1 from rivalries, and then our standard +3 as a base. And it looks like, yes, our old warlord has died at the age of 147. So we have our elections, and we can stand in and choose someone for 50 influence. So let's see, what do we have? Oh, pause the game while that goes. So we have someone with the fortifier and monthly influence, and they are busy. Is that one of our science ships? Oh, nope, sorry. That is our second fleet, for lack of a better term. And their agenda is fleet expansion, so that could be an interesting person to go for if we're going to be going up against another empire. And we have this one, so colony, ship build cost and development speed, and more monthly influence. Agenda, a new generation, which doesn't seem that useful. And we have corvette, build cost, and space miner, and secure the borders. So defense platform, build cost, -15%, and damage and hull points +25%. That again could be a good person. And then cruiser build focus and warlike. So this is interesting because our previous ruler died at age, what was it, 147? So the two most promising ones, we could maybe get 20-30 years of rulership from them, which are there like good traits and agendas worth potentially having another election again in 20 years, or do we go for Lanchon Lafon, who's 76 and so could be leading us for another 70 years, but doesn't have anything that's really useful to us in a war circumstance? Or do I just abstain and leave it up to the random number generator? That is something for consideration. So when does this end? In about 2 months' time. So in the meantime, our science ship's got plasma accelerators and plasma thrusters progression, which has actually tipped us over to completing that research, and we've completed the research of galactic bureaucracy. So while we leave the game paused for a moment, so if we go back again to quantum field manipulation and get that done, leader enhancement, selected lineages. Okay, that's a policy. We have only one policy available to us. Improved productions. Administrative capacity plus 5%, or star-based capacity. We will go for that. And I have noticed we have popped up in our administrative capacity. We are almost back up to where our empire sprawl is, so our technology is only 7 plus 17. So a recommendation from Rob is to go for Steb, so aged 129. Let's go for them. So they have been chosen as the new ruler and will reign until their death. Hey, this planet is becoming a nuisance. Their crime is way down, but the stability is also bottomed out, basically. Hey. So they're complaining about a lack of amenities. So what can we do to resolve that? I obviously don't want to get rid of the administration park we've just built, because that has obviously increased our capacity, our admin cap. I don't really want to get rid of our civilian industries either, because we are going into the negatives on that. This is, well, the good news is Proval and Yerk Freedom have no longer have an unemployment crisis. I think that is the one good thing. Okay, anyway, how is our research? Plus 416, so we could potentially sacrifice one of those. So if I actually have a look, so we had a Valgavors. How can I make you happier? What can I build? Okay, I think I'll put down a hollow theatre in place of one of our research stations. And, yep. If Stab had been, I think it is, Steb, S-T-E-B-E-B. I was reading that wrong. Yeah, if he was like 15, 20 years younger, I would have gone for him, like, in a pinch, no like consideration towards any of the other ones. But for now, that will indeed allow us to build ships a bit faster, a bit less cost, and also we can focus on getting our defense platforms as well. Which reminds me, nope, Durascadon station does not have any. Ooh, and look at that! Oh my goodness. So it costs us 49 alloys, 1 rare crystal and 1 exotic gas to build a defense platform, because we have got a massive minus 86% cost bonus to that. So let's just slam down as many defense platforms as we can. It might actually be worth having a look at what these defense platforms have. So they have barrier point defense. I think I'm probably actually going to change, or I will change that out for strike craft. It may just be a bias, but I do seem to have a lot better time if my defense platforms have strike craft rather than any kind of point defense, small, medium weapons, anything like that. So what do we have? Okay, we just have the basic nuclear missiles for that section. And we have also another tradition available. Oh, this one looks like it's come as a good time. Adaptive ecology, 1 free building slot. Holy moly, that's a cheap defense platform. Yes, indeed it is. So that has given us a new building slot, and that looks like it has indeed filtered through to every single one of our planets, which is awesome. So we can have a look to create a few more sectors and actually get our energy and minerals out of the red. So where can we get that from? So we can obviously do our energy grids for energy, needless to say. Though I don't think we have anything that can necessarily bump up our crystals, our mining jobs. Let me just go through it again. Because sometimes I do completely forget what a building is called, and I will scroll over it, not actually checking the description of it, and then goes like, why don't I have this thing? I swear I had this. So anyway, we will put a couple of energy grids on some of these planets. So yes, that would benefit. We have 3, 1. Actually, quite a lot of these planets have not reached their maximum district levels. So build up 2 more there, and oh yes, we've got a massive glacier here, which, well, once that actually gets excavated, we will be able to have 2 mining districts. So if that's the case, we will turn that into a mining world. Who else has a good amount of mining options? Not you. Not you, unfortunately. You do, or are creating quite a lot of energy, so I may put an energy grid down there as well. You're very good for alloys, and so would you be. And 2 mining districts down there. So just scrolling back to what Rob was saying. So I need a bare minimum of 30k before taking another crack at the shard. She's pretty strong, but the relic world she guards is quite juicy. Yes, I'm certainly hoping on that. Ooh, that would have been really nice if it had come in like 2 minutes ago. Planetary build speed plus 50% and empire sprawl from districts minus 10%. Well, let's get that in. We have starbase capacity plus 2 coming in 1 month. And Rob, you might consider popping down clone vats in those free slots because it's 33% extra pop growth and the building itself doesn't take up a pop job. That is a good point. As lithoids, I think we have... Where is it? Yeah, pop assembly speed and pop growth speed minus 25%. So that will probably bring us back up to a bit over a standard species growth rate. But then obviously we also have some provalgivores, so that will give them a bit of a bonus. And as we obviously have them around, that might help build up our empire a little bit, which will make it a little bit ironic that we are a xenophobe empire, but we're more than welcome, or we're more than willing to put other people in our society and let them work. So I know I did this last time we came through, but I honestly cannot remember. I know we checked all of these planets to see if any of them were any good. Oh yes, the tundra world here. We have 78% for some reason. So we could get a few more minerals come through and we can actually colonize that second planet there. Then why is there an orbital habitat here I don't know about? Huh. Okay, did I just completely miss that? I think I may have just completely missed that. So where are you? Oh, you're here. Huh. So it looks like the provalgivores had built up a habitat around here. It's absolutely tiny. Maximum district's 4. Keep that in mind. I haven't really played around with habitats too much, so again we will see how things go with that. But yes, we'll definitely be colonising this once we have some of our buildings done and we're gaining minerals back again. Oh, that was not where I wanted to click. So society research. Now, was that a glacier we could unlock? That is impassable mountains and wildlife. Nope. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing for blockers. That was dangerous wildlife. Yeah, massive glacier. Okay, I think we will take that. And they changed the free habitat. Well, like I said, I haven't really played around with them too much, so I don't really know much about them. I know that Void Dweller pre 3.0 was considered quite an interesting start, but I didn't get around to trying them out just yet. And we are critical research, critical deficit of minerals, but thankfully they're going for pretty cheap, so as much as it pains, I will sell back a few more rare crystals so we can get our energy back a little bit. Oh, someone has discovered Zro in the galaxy, or at least has been able to mine it. Now, we ourselves, we've got one here, and I swear, there we go, we've got another 2 down here, but we don't have the technology just yet. Following an anonymous tip, enforcers on Jörgfidhun recently stormed a large warehouse, found a considerable stash of contraband. Yes, that is massive. 30 consumer goods. Thank you for your work. Alright. That number of factions is just really aggravating me. It's like, why do you have so many? Oh, and we actually have a specialist unemployed here. So let's see what we can do. We can increase our civilian fabrications. We have a meteorite passing through our home system, so we gain a tiny bit of unity from that. So thankfully our stability is up at 37% now. And I love how you're floating your entire economy with rare crystals. Oh, if it works, it works. I think I just got so lucky with having some rare crystals nearby to my starting system and being able to research it fairly quickly, so I just built up a stockpile of them. So quantum field manipulation has been researched. What can we do here? Planetary shield generator is interesting. I've played around with that in the past, though by the time I usually get to it, the planets that I want to protect are usually so deep into my empire that it doesn't matter too much. You could go for advanced computer roles or research station output. I'll go for advanced computer roles to clear that out. And now that one is an interesting case to me. We can either increase our fleet command limit by +20 again, and that would enable us to have a third fleet, albeit at half power compared to our first two. Or we could go for interstellar campaigns and get a tiny decrease on our claim influence cost and war exhaustion gain, which could help us tide us over until we actually reach crisis level 2. And thinking about it, yes, I will go for that one. And it also has the slight benefit of being cheaper than the fleet command limit, so it will be done that bit quicker. And of course, speaking of claims, we already had a few on this system, so we can spend 404 influence, get a few more claims down. And okay, so you border the Fallen Empire here, and so I am probably going to have to be a bit more careful about this. I think if we go through the Raxicodiums, because I don't think... Okay, they are in a federation, so we are going to have to probably... I'll move you over from the Provalgavors so we can actually have a look and see how much the Necromages of Halfasa are. I love that name. That name just feels so epic. So we can actually get a bit of information along and see where they are. So they are... Ooh, that stretches quite a fair bit. So they are at least this section here that I can see. So we might be able to get lucky if we start chipping away at the Raxicodiums. So the Necromages will have to come all the way up here through the system. They'll have to go down here into the walkable territory and then back up to actually meet us in this area. And then the Desticans. Do I even need to claim systems? That is a good point actually with my new Casus Belli. Let's actually have a look. So yeah, I can bring into the fold. So they will join compliance support or be obliterated, or we can wipe them out. So I will just quickly pop over to this good old Stellaris wiki and see what they say about all of that. Because as much as it obviously gives you a straight up title for it, it doesn't necessarily always correlate to what will actually happen. So let's see. So bring into fold the loser will become a vassal of the attacker, and if the empire is part of a federation, they will leave it. So all systems that are fully occupied by the Crisis Empire will be turned into a vassal of the attacker, so that could actually split up the Raxicodiums. And then we also have Wipe Them Out, which, if I can find it, okay, no, that one doesn't seem to be in there. Or should I be looking for existential expulsion? Nope. Or it would help if I could spell it right. Existential. Oh, yep, there we go. So it's apparently listed as a subsection under the containment end threat option. So victory can only be achieved by conquering all colonized systems of the opposition, ending the opposing empire. If a defeated empire had star bases in uncolonized systems that were not conquered, they were removed, making the territory neutral again. And then a status quo effect would be each side keeps all conquered systems. Okay, so... no, I was misspeaking slightly earlier. So, the bring into fold war goal, if we win, then the loser becomes a vassal of the attacker. If we settle for a status quo, all systems fully occupied by the Crisis Empire will be turned into a vassal. So we could go through and try and split up the Raxicodiums by that. And as to making claims, it doesn't look like we necessarily need it, but I mean, for one thing, we don't really use the influence for much else other than, honestly, the Galactic Senate and trying to put forward a resolution, and edicts, which I honestly most of the time just forget that they're there. And with a name like the Necro Mages, you'd expect they'd actually be Necroids. Yes, I would, because all we know is that they're fungoid. They are a necrophage race that we know of. Now, we do know a few things about, so they're conformists, non-adaptive, repugnant, and then Wipe Them Out literally destroys their starbase, so I'd have to claim the systems with a construction ship anyway. Yeah, I think it's still worth claiming the normal way, because at the very least that gives us a couple of different war options, and if I just wanted to come in and claim a bit more territory, I could, rather than doing the crisis crisis casus belli and going through and fighting them that way. But I think the next time we go to war against the Porvalgavors, the Wipe Them Out option is going to be tempting. That's going to be tempting. And speaking of that, we are slightly less in a deficit for our minerals, but we're still losing 30 energy credits a month. So yes, unlike last episode, this one is probably going to be more of a how are we going to fix the economy? So we do have 5 generators here, so we could put down another energy grid, and also, as Rob was saying, the clone vats. And yes, yeah, Necromage makes me think of the Elder Scrolls system as well. It's just, it feels like one of the titles that you should really get there. And ooh, this is a nice one. I like this event. So, a tubular alien entity has entered orbit of Varian Prime with no warning or explanation. It appears to be moving without engines or thrusters, gliding in complete silence through the void of space, cylinders rotating ominously. Now, we are a xenophobic race, so you would think that the safety of our people must come first, but maybe let's study it. Okay, an enigmatic guest finishes in 13 months. So for people who haven't necessarily seen this event before, this is basically a wandering starship that goes around, and if it's in your territory and above a planet, it gives you a bonus to your research for that planet for the duration that it is present. Oh, we are back in credit for our energy, and we are almost back in credit for our minerals, so that's a good thing to see. So, okay, if I just pause a second, because I can see some empires we are running a bit low on amenities. And of course, we need crystals to buy everything. My empire's post-war economy makes Venezuela look wealthy. The thing is, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a post-war economy. I would say it's more of a holy... Like, how on earth do we deal with all this influx of people? So, as we are back in credit on our energies, I think I will buy a few thousand minerals and we can get things working that way. So, need some more amenities. We have available districts, so let's do that. You are fine. You are fine. You could probably benefit with one. You have... Right, that might be why we are a little low on our consumer goods. Oops, no, not demolish, replace. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm not fond of the monument, I just think that there's other buildings which can be, you know, better or more useful. Actually, yes, I think I will just straight up demolish that, and we will hopefully get our consumer goods back and working. And I forgot to check the amenities on that. So that, well, okay, that has left one person unemployed. And let's see. Oh, we can build ourselves a clone vat straight up. And what else can we do? Because we obviously need an important job, but I don't want to put too many of my workers into jobs that are not necessarily going to be available. So we are making 75 alloy foundries a month, so I could look into turning a couple of other ones into something. And of course we will build an admin office there and get our admin cap back closer to our empire sprawls. Minerals are going so fast, and yes, we can see here, so Iverum Prime has the Alien Studies Enigmatic Cash bonus, so physics, society and engineering research from jobs are all plus 30%, as well as our research assistants giving us plus 16%, and Titanic Life giving us plus 25 society research, so that's 25, 55, 72, so we are gaining an extra 72% society research from this planet alone because of those. We were doing fine on food just a minute ago. Oy. Okay. Who has the space for food? Well, best option would be to look through and see which ones are actually losing it, which is this planet again. Unfortunately, we don't have any more base for food, so that is going to be a hydroponics farm once we again buy some more minerals. This is going to be a reoccurring theme, and sell some rare crystals. I am just waiting for someone to make a meme or something out of that. So anyway, go back here, hydroponics farm. Oops, did not mean to cancel that. I wanted to have a look to see how much it produced. 13. Okay. And we have a sudden lack of available amenities here. Hey. It's so typical that the enigmatic cache will go to boost a planet that produces no research. Oh, is that a hint? I should probably build a research station here then. Oh, requires planetary administration. Well, look at that. Good thing we can upgrade to that then. Market. Minerals. Back to the planet. And research lab we unfortunately cannot queue up. And enigmatic fortress has vanquished an ancient threat. Oh, okay, that looks, no, that's not where the mining stations were, that was... Is this the game saying the enigmatic fortress has destroyed itself? I'm not sure. Either way, the Rayobs have closed their borders to us, so we can't really investigate into there anyway. Well, we needed a planetary administration there anyway. Oh, so the enigmatic cache. Despite extensive research, the enigmatic cache and its origin are still shrouded in mystery. Appears to be preoccupied mainly with the gathering, storing and encoding of data. Covered in hundreds of thousands of minuscule scratches and dents, which we have discovered traces of a compound that is alien to our galaxy. So we have gained almost 2,400 engineering research. Which, let's just have a look here. So that now means our construction templates, it's only 10 months remaining. And OMG, the enigmatic fortress killed a Leviathan. We need to stop this Leviathan on Leviathan nonsense. Why? They're doing jobs for ourselves. Okay, and our last tradition from the adaptability tree. So let's see what we have available, because obviously some of these become an option once we have a certain number of ascension perks. Unfortunately, we have not researched glandular acclimation technology, so we can't go for evolutionary mastery. So galactic force projection could be interesting. It's like naval capacity plus 80 and fleet command limit plus 20. It's just a shame that that is a flat increase rather than a percentage amount. We could be a little bit ironic and take Defender of the Galaxy. I don't actually even know if an endgame crisis would spawn if either the player or an AI empire becomes the crisis themselves. Interstellar Domain, which I don't really care about. Grasp the Void could be an interesting one again, because we are trying to spread out across quite a wide area, and that could help us shore up our borders. Again, Eternal Vigilance, so that could give us a bit of an increase on starbase damage, hull points and additional defense platforms. Galactic Contender, so additional diplomatic weight, damage to fallen empires, awakened empires and the gate builders. One Vision, which gives us a bit more unity and less amenities usage and a higher governing ethics attraction. Mastery of Nature, I don't really care about that. Imperial prerogative to increase our admin capacity. Executive figure to give us 2 edicts. Transcendent learning, don't really care about that. And shared destiny is interesting because of the envoys, but not really anything else. So for the moment I will close that without taking anything, but if anyone has any suggestions for what I should take, or if I should leave something open for a future option, I'm willing to listen to that. Hey, you are seriously becoming a problem child, aren't you? Hey. So that wouldn't really do much for us if we upgraded our research labs. We could replace the precinct houses with another hollow theatre, as we have got crime down to just... No, that wouldn't work because our crime would just spring back up because we have minus 75 from population jobs, but that is plus 81 from population and criminal underworld. It'd be nice if we could actually see if we can get rid of them, but we will just have to wait for, I suppose, an opportunity for that later. Let's see what we've got on our decisions. So we could declare martial law, which would increase stability and add more soldier jobs. We could distribute luxury goods, which would cost us 400. Yes, I think I will do that for now. Oh, and planetary prospecting. Now, I'm not sure if that's new, if it is something that I've just never seen before. Yeah, and Rob says, I think sitting on the Ascension perk for now is a wise decision. Yeah. Generally, when I get to about here, I tend to have the 3 Ascension perks that I really want to, and then the 4th one is kind of... Okay, Divine Bruggen Empire has joined the Star Accord. So, that you look like a new race that's just either been uplifted or has discovered FTL space travel. So we do not take kindly to your sort, and let's go and be nosy about you. So, no, they have not been uplifted by the looks of it. Thrifty natural physicists and fleeting. Oh wait, there we go. So I'm always looking here for the uplift trait, but no, they are a protectorate under the United Vaxicodium Confederation. So we have Casus Belli that we can use against them. They have joined the Star Accords. And while we're talking about that, let's have a look at the necrophages. So we have 20 intelligence on them. It's like, I love how it says like their economic power is equivalent to us and their technology level is superior, but the relative power is pathetic and their relative encryption is weak. So we don't have any available assets, so we will just launch that through, take a bit of a hit to our energy again. Oh, I didn't see we were running out of food. Now, do I set up? I think I will set up a standing order. Not 110. I can never remember which one is the one to increase it by 10 and the one that increases it by 100. So that should help us out a little bit. And yeah, needless to say, they have joined the galactic community. Interstellar commit. I've completely forgotten what that one was, just like looking at it 2 seconds ago. But anyway, that one's been researched. So we can have artificial moral codes, which will decrease crime by 15% and raise the amenities by 5%, which could be useful for that one. Flat 5% increase to our admin capacity. planetary capital as an option, as well as Hall of Judgment or Fleet Academy. Yes, I think I will go for the Fleet Academy technology because I do like having the ship starting experience as an option. Again, I've never really seen if it's fully useful, but oops. No, that was pause the music, not unpause the game. So okay, that is the hydroponics farm now built. Let's just wait until we tick through to a new month to see how our resources are doing. And Rob, I found it really funny in a previous stream where the game let you infiltrate a hive mind. It doesn't make much sense, but blackmailing a quadrone with Stellaris. Yes, I thought so as well. I was surprised that I had those options available to me, because you would have thought, well, okay, we're a lithoid race, they're a plantoid race. I suppose you can obviously find an asset or some such that way, but trying to be able to infiltrate a hive mind was interesting. And who has died? One of our envoys. And we are unfortunately low on food. So back here, I'd increase that. Again, we are running low on resources. How are we doing on exotic gases? We could start selling one of those. Yes, I think I will put that in just to see if we can buffer ourselves up a bit. So got some more information on the necromages. So that operation is finished. That has not, let's just unpause and wait for a moment. That has not changed what we know of any of their territory. So we do know a bit more about their technology level, but that looks to be about it. And for now, I think we will just leave our envoy there building up some information, and then we can go here and acquire an asset when we get to 30 intelligence points. So advanced combat roles has been researched. Positronic AI. Or phase disruptors. They both cost the same amount. I'm not quite sure. Oh, looks like I might be in a resource death spiral. Yes, I'm very much willing to say that might be the case. But if that does occur, I could always just completely bottom out and destroy all of the food production facilities that we have and turn them around into minerals and see if we can restore our energy credits on that. So this is actually, I think, the first time I've really had issues with resources. But again, we have a surplus of alloys and a surplus of consumer goods, so we could potentially sell a few of those off to balance things. And I will leave the physics research for the moment while I have a look and see what our engineering options are. So plasma thruster is still there waiting for us. Destroyer hull points, which is a bit useless, seeing as I don't think we really want to be using destroyers anymore. We could go for advanced railgun, corvette hull points plus 100, or plus steel armor, and let's go for phase disruptor. Try and move something towards a bit of a war focus. Oh dear. Okay, no, that is not the enigmatic caches. trying to get in here for the Grand Dragon. So, but anyway. So, right. I wasn't quite aware of that. That might actually solve our issues if we look at it that way. So obviously, because we have the clone vats on at least a couple of worlds. So we have clone vats on 2 worlds, which are taking up 30 food each. So I mean, we can pretty much just get rid of one of those. See where we are on food. Get a few more minerals back. Cancel that out. Do we need to remove the other cloning vat? We may need to remove the other cloning vat. Yes, we do. But we can demolish that. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Don't panic. So, alloys. So, zero that out. We can sell 60 alloys a month and still have some in stock. We can sell, again, 40 consumer goods. So that will get us energy. Then we can buy 70 minerals. And yes, I did absorb a lot of planets into my empire at once. So, okay. It's always a bit nerve-wracking waiting for the next month to tick by. Okay, we still need more food. Ooh! Well, this is the first time that I've actually seen an empire, or a species within my empire boundaries, actually increase to the atomic age. So physicists from the alien civilization on Kurilla 1 have managed to split the atom for the first time. With the discovery of nuclear fission, the first nuclear weapons are inevitably being produced and nuclear power plants are coming online. The Yoran civilization has entered the critical phase where they suddenly possess the means to destroy their own world with a press of the button. Now, using the Xenos as livestock for extra food, the issue with that is the Xenos are the only ones that are actually needing the food. So essentially, if I get rid of the Xenos, I have no more need for food. Thus, I don't need them for livestock to create food, if that makes sense. Okay, so this is complaining about a shortage of minerals for our lithoids and a shortage of food for, obviously, our biological species. So, you know what? I tried to be nice. That is unfortunate. We have 5 years before we can actually change the Provalgivores to be undesirables anyway. So we couldn't do that. And yes, wonder if the primitives will nuke themselves. That is a distinct possibility. Like, there is the possibility that they nuke themselves and their world becomes a tomb world. Okay, but seriously, I should be... I'm just taking a moment to think about this and think over. Because we have a minus 39 monthly gain. I'm wondering if it might be worth trying to downgrade a couple of our stations, because we do have some which are in the middle of our territories and are not necessarily going to be useful in terms of blockades. So how much upkeep does a starbase take? Hi Sanity Kira, we are playing as a lithoid race with the calamitous birth origin. We are a xenophobe, militarist and materialist, and in my previous stream we had taken the Ascension perk to become the Crisis, and you can see that we are just about halfway through to being Crisis level 2. We ended up the last episode having just finished a war, and we are now and still dealing with the consequences of it, including a complete crash out of all of our resources, which is fun, yay. Anyway, like I was saying, so star bases 96, districts is 103, ships is 145. Do we not have... Yes, because I built a listening post up here, didn't I? So if we put a crew quarters and replace that, sell a few more rare crystals again to try and keep our empire going. Buy some food. Okay, that has just ticked over. We are now making everything except energy, which I can deal with. We are making everything except energy. We can sell a second volatile moat per month. Oh, no, our energy has just come back online. We are... I am not going to say crisis averted. I am not going to say crisis averted because we are not 100% sure on that. We have our plasteel armour. That has been researched. And good timing, we can now have the option to get extra minerals from our miners. Oh, excuse me for a moment. That was stressful. Though it does seem we are also losing food. So Proval, you need some more. I don't really want to get rid of the civilian industries because that is going to impact our consumer goods, and while we can take a bit of a hit, that would be -3. Oh wow, okay. I did not realise how many research labs there were here. So if we replace one of those with a hydroponics farm, that would not be quite enough to manage, but maybe if we change one of these over to an agricultural district. Rob, minor artifacts. Yes, thank you. I always forget about those. I always forget that we can sell all of our or not all of them, but sell quite a few of our minor artifacts to gain a bit more money. There we go. Just sold 20 and we are now up to 10,000 energy in the bank. Interstellar Fleetal Traditions has been researched. And let's see. Food processing facilities. So that also gives us plus 15% food from farmers. And that is a cheap one. So let's just go back into that. So the Senate has voted on and passed the underdeveloped system utilization. What does that mean? Observation posts provide consumer goods. Okay, so that benefits us ever so slightly. And just a quick look through. Yeah, go on, I will support that one. I will oppose that. And that honestly looks like about it. Get things back again. Our Admiral has gained a level. Necromages, we are at 26. Oh, and I just saw that their encryption is pedestrian. That is a new level I've not seen mentioned before. So, Orbis that is an interesting empire name. The Orbis Customer Synergies, which, needless to say, they are a mega corporation. But yeah, some of the names that we are getting in this are quite the interesting and epic names. So I was going to check something. Ah, yes. Our contacts. I was going to see if we really had anyone that we knew of that actually has potentially... Oh, okay, other than the enigmatic observers.
Research complete.
Yeah. So that building's done. And gene clinics again, I don't really care about that. Heritage sites is the increase to the monument, which I don't really use. So admittedly, for lack of anything else to do, let's just see if we can start clearing out some blockers. So there's one there, and we can get to work on this one. Now, where were all my food buildings? Here. So we have 4 specialists unemployed. So could put through a couple more researchers, or we could replace a few jobs. That one is fine. This one could do with a few more amenities. I'll wait until we get back to 500 crystals. You're looking fine. You could do with some amenities again. You are fine, and you are doing pretty decently, I would say. And Rob, yes, I quite like the fog of war as well. I think I wouldn't necessarily call it a complaint, is that I don't know if there should be some sort of consideration to like having a higher base level intelligence as you go through the game, because as I said, we are over halfway through the planned lifespan of this game, and we still have quite a lot to learn about some of the other empires, especially if we are going to be the crisis and take over as much as we can. So the Desticans have become outwardly xenophilic, so that will be interesting, because that means that they can potentially go through and create more treaties and whatnot with others. So you have association status, so I think that means you don't necessarily come to they don't necessarily come to your aid. But back here we have enough intelligence points to acquire an asset, so we have more than enough energy to cover that, so we can launch it. Okay, so this has 2 jobs and an upgrade gives it 4 jobs. Pause that while we have a think. So you don't really want commercial zones, because that doesn't really do too much. Yeah, pretty much there's no jobs that we can really replace it with that would have a benefit, so it might be worth upgrading one of the research labs and then just waiting for one of the specialists to get fed up with waiting, and they can go down to just being a standard worker. And also, seeing as we do have the enigmatic cache here, it is probably worth getting a couple of scientists. Actually, no. I know what we'll do. When we get 400 minerals, we'll come back to Everim, we'll build a research lab and move across a couple of our scientists. The Desticans are looking pretty weak now. Yes, I think it was the Provalgavors that had... So yes, Provalgavors' independence guaranteed by the Destican High Kingdom, whereas the Desticans, I swear I saw a similar thing. No, okay, that is just saying that they are guaranteeing the independence of the Provalgavors themselves. And yes, I think our economy needs to wait and balance out a little bit before we consider another war setting. So that tile blocker is done. I think we will go for admin capacity because we should be nearly close enough to a new option there. Oh dear, I have just seen what our next research option is going to be. We are going to go for battleships. So, we might, presuming no one decides to be silly enough to try and declare war on us, which the Provalgavors... Okay, nope. Our peace treaty with the Provalgavors has expired. So they cannot, or they could declare war on us, but their fleet is pathetic compared to ours. And we could have a look at the Rayobs as well, couldn't we? Let's see. So you're building a spy network in the Raxacodiums. So, yep, I will move you over so we can start getting a bit more information on you. And let's have a look here. So we've got... Call that 5,800 there. 6,800. So you have got fleets. They are just all over the place. Have you gone to war against someone? It doesn't look like it. And someone else has formed a federation. Oh, Migration Treaty, the Necromages and Destican High Kingdom. Okay, we have 500 influence. Are there any good choke points that I can potentially push my way through to for the Raxacodiums? No, because those are going to be too far away. So we could push through and try and split their territory in half. I'm just having a quick look. We have about 25 minutes left on our stream. So the question is, do we try and go for something? And we have potentially marked a necromage target. And the Nar nation, wherever that is, are xenophilic. We could take a tributary, yes. The only thing is, do I go for the Provalgavors, given that they are small, even though the Desticans will come to their aid? Do we try and go for the Raxacodiums? Or do we just pretty much cut out the middleman and go straight for the Desticans? I think I have an idea what option you are going to go for, Rob. So let's just see what we can do. So we can bring into the fold for them. So we do not have any claim casus belli. Adding a claim to one of the target systems will grant us the claim casus belli. And let me have a think. So, yes, I think it might be worth, I agree with you there, Rob, I think it might be worth seeing if we can try and take a tributary. So, if I send you up to Corolla Station, and we also need an admiral placed there, and then similarly assign you to that base and send you up. And let's get prepared for war. Hopefully, with our fleets coming up here through Chorus, they will ignore coming down here through to Navi, though if it is probably worthwhile going through and making sure that we just have that area completely built up. Hi there, Hoofkins. Nope, we do not have any mods installed for this game at all. It is a 100% vanilla run, though we are also running with basically every single DLC in the game that is available. Yep, Rob, we are vanilla. We are vanilla. I have tried a few mods in the past, but there's been nothing that's really necessarily caught my interest, and I find, especially with the 3.0 patch and Nemesis release, that there is enough in the game to keep me interested, so I haven't really bothered too much with mods. But I will say I am not adverse to mods in the slightest. My City Skylines, one that I am also running and streaming, has a bunch of mods, and I do have plans for other games which are also highly modded. So if we build in here a shipyard and a couple of hangar bays, and then we can also have, where was it? So we need an anchorage, that was it. Or was it? Sorry, I need to have a rethink. Oh, no, we want the... Yes, we want the Fleet Academy, which requires a shipyard. Yeah, no worry, Hopkins. Hope you're enjoying this regardless. So if we move the shipyard all the way up to the top, and that will be done in half a year, and then we can add our Fleet Academy in, and at Navi, if we need to build up some more ships, we can do it here, and they will start with 100 experience. So if we leave that for the moment, we have a new tradition available. So let's just have a look. Stability increase in a defensive war, building upkeep, city districts. I think we will go for harmony, just so we can get that pop mineral consumption reduced by 10%, just to give us a small boost to things. So that does mean we can reduce the amount of minerals we are buying, and we probably also want to reduce the amount of alloys as well. So just try and rebalance our economy a little bit more. Thankfully, we seem to be doing absolutely fine on food, and I completely missed some new research being available. So breakdown, arcane deciphering, reverse engineer minor artifacts. So break down minor artifacts for random technology bonuses, gain progress in a random tech, gain research points, or gain a temporary research speed boost. That could be interesting. We have ship upgrade cost, minus 20%, and ship upkeep minus 5%. A quicksand basement or planetary capital. I'll actually just have a quick look. Do we have... well, okay, we can remove that blocker as that one. So we do have 2 quicksand basins here, and that is blocking 3 agricultural districts and 1 mining district. So maybe... okay, it's quicksand there. And back down here, so it might probably be worth actually going for that blocker, as much as it's going to pain me to ignore the planetary capital, but hopefully that will be around their next roll. And last one, let's go for artisan's output. That is another quick, cheap technology. So we have fair amounts of visibility on the Desticans, so 3,300, about 2,000 there. So yes, that looks like we could reasonably easily take them. Oh, and we have found a Raxacodium encryption key, which gives us +1 to our code breaking. Now I do find it interesting that that tends to apply to everything that you're doing rather than the specific species or empire you are trying to use it against. Oh, I was actually just looking at that. So we have low intel on all of them. Intel here is still low. I think again we will wait and see if we can put forward any kind of assets for that. Our ships are mostly coming through. As soon as we get one ship up here in Corolla, I'm not going to wait for the other one, though they are only a couple of jumps behind, just because we can potentially roll through the Desticans with that one ship and not have too much to worry about. Though you are spawning a few construction ships, I am wondering where you're going with those. So speaking of, research tile blockers has been done, and Impossible Mountains is another one that I spotted. So we can just have a look through that. Remove those and remove that, and we should be able to remove this soon enough, and that one as well. So Sargass Prime, is that blocking anything? That is not. Stability 44% here, so that's okay. Our crime here is actually for once less than the amount that's being taken away thanks to the population jobs. And yes, I did say I was going to put a research lab here, wasn't I? Oh well. After a... ooh, Caravaniers. After a recent visit of the Winds of Fortune to Tiauco, it has been noticed that a number of resources are missing from the Central Reserve. Oh, I hadn't even noticed that. And the Raxa embraces cybernetics. Word is leaking out of significant changes taking place within the borders of the League of Raxa. It would appear they have fully embraced the technology of cybernetics. The changes to their species have been so significant they call themselves the Post-Goxi now. So where are you? League of Raxa here. Oh, Post-Gax. Yep, cybernetics. So we indeed have one of our fleets right at the borders. So let's declare war. I am so amused by the fact that the Lithoid advisor voice just has so many rock puns on it. and a 0-point reactor. So, oops, there we go. And we have our defense platforms being built up. Now, just shove in the Fleet Academy there and get that running. Wait, hang on. Who? Where? Oh, right, okay. So they have one of the oh, what's it called? I can't remember what they're called. Hoofkins, if you enjoy silly advisors, there's a Canadian advisor mod that's pretty great. So that could be something fun to look into. Half the time I honestly just enjoy the fact that different ones have different voices, like many a true nerd on YouTube, no matter what species he plays as, he enjoys putting on the xenophile advisor, because it's, or to him and to me, it sounds a fair bit like Talizora from Mass Effect. Okay, so we have an asset from the Necromages of Holfassa, so we should be able to get a bit more information out of them soon enough. Oh, and I needn't have worried about them in the Federation, because they're pathetic. Okay, they've built their fleet up a tiny bit more, and these we obviously don't know about, but they are recently uplifted, so we can only presume that their fleet power is absolutely pathetic. And that briefly reminds me, if we go down here and see, so civilization has advanced into the equivalent of an atomic age, but they have not blown themselves up yet. I say yet. So reports from the Necromages of Holfassa secured access to an official within the Holfassan civic hierarchy. Be kept secure but poised. Okay, good. And you are briefly coming up here, so I will send you across to there just to hold that border. And I will just speed the game up a bit, because I don't anticipate... Okay, you have been holding all of the interesting things about you, apparently. You have been holding all the interesting things. Oh no, actually that's in the Raxicodiums. The Psi Menace. Now, who is this? Okay, just the space squiddies. Nothing too amazing. And yeah, Necromages are really squishy. Thing is, I think whether it's by luck or just the fact that I've been focusing on the military and our navy, that we are pretty strong compared to our neighbours. Of course, I say that, I haven't actually looked at any of the stations around here, so we could have the issue where we run into a station that is pretty well defended and we end up getting... Oh, this is what I was fearing. Genorgian theocracy, the subject of one of our enemies, has entered the war against us. Oh, no, never mind. That's just these guys down here. You know, actually, for a subject, 2,000 fleet power isn't that bad. Unfortunately, you are going to be coming all the way down here, and I don't think you're going to be able to manage that. Oh, no. Looks like they are... Please don't crash game. Eek. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go, thankfully. Thank you. Ooh. We have the L cluster. That's been revealed. So where on earth is that? Because I don't think we've seen an L gate anywhere in our corner of the system. corner of the galaxy, rather. It's a new tile blocker done. Habitability modification could be useful for our subjects. Or fleet command limit. Hyper entertainment forums. Planetary capital. I did say I wanted to go for that, so we will indeed go for that. Okay. Seeing as... Oh, okay. Never mind, I was going to swap around my first and second fleets because I thought my second one had more power than my first one, but nope, that is not the case. Okay, so we will just send you around here and take down effectively as much territory as you can manage. We are losing intel on the Desticans, which doesn't matter because we are at war with them. Oh, Rob says, imagine being a primitive race and getting uplifted only to be immediately told you're now part of a massive interstellar war with some nasty lithoids. Well, seeing as they did pop up like right next to me, I kind of think that they had an inkling of what might be going on. Okay, so we are still only at 2.9 military power here. 3.2 against 3.6. So I think this may be... Oh my goodness, there's way too many things coming on here. So why are you saying Starbase lost? Because it's not been lost yet. Engineering research. Durasteel armor. Let's go for that. So we may lose... Oh, actually I didn't think about that. We have the shard here, which is going to protect us against anything that tries to come in down from here. So that's... I didn't think about that. That is actually a very useful foresight that I didn't even think about. But yeah, so 2.2 versus 2.1. So I think we may lose these few systems. Yeah, we're going to lose them. But thankfully we should be... okay, my game is starting to worry me with a bit on how much it is struggling. So it shouldn't be that bad. I do have a decent system. And no, it is telling me it's absolutely fine. So it's just being a bit fussy, I think. So anyway, an operative resurfaces. A long expired set of covert codes has just been reactivated. They are linked to operations we previously carried out in the necromages of Holfassa, from where it would seem a former operative is trying to report back in. Ooh! The message is light on details, but the code contains markers which signify intelligence on key political figures in a foreign empire. Our security advisors confirmed that the codes were valid until quite recently, but their expiry means such codes are open to compromise by foreign powers. There's no telling if the operative or their message are genuine. So, former agents are to be disavowed, ignore this. So begins the operative resurfaces event chain, already an extraction team. I'm already an extraction team, just to see what happens. So we have our planetary capital there. And reverse engineer. I clicked on that before my brain actually registered. Ceramo metal infrastructure, +1 building slots. No, I think I will go back to the reverse engineer the minor artifacts. Council elections. So unfortunately none of ours are, we're not eligible for that for whatever reason. I don't see why. We have a huge fleet. And, oh, that is adorable. That is adorable. You're swearing at me. You think you are so tough because you've taken down one of my stations. Anyway, the Phantom Operative. The clandestine strike team we sent into the necromages of Holfassa have returned with great haste. It seems there never was a disavowed operative. Instead, what the team found was a subtle evidence of a plot to expose our clandestine operations. Perhaps this was a scheme intended to further Holfassan goals. Perhaps an external body sought to meddle in our affairs. In either case, our containment measures were aborted just in time to avoid exposing our intelligence operations, past or present. So, one of our people now has the meticulous trait. So how are we doing? We have 8% war exhaustion and the Desticans have 14%.
Hostile fleet rumbled.
So we actually don't need as much to achieve our war goals as I was thinking. Hey, we have got still some more fleets. So the Desticans do look like they're wanting to try and swarm down here, but I think that's going to not be too little too late, but I don't think it's really going to work out the way they think, because as I've said, they are going to face the Shard if they try and go down too far. So the members of the galactic community have voted to establish a galactic council. Until a new council is elected, it's going to be the United Raxacodium Confederation, the Nar Nation, and the Jehetma Dominion. They are expected to lead and safeguard the galactic community. So, what? Okay. Our diplomatic weight is only 1,883. Okay, I guess that explains things. Let's actually go back to the situation log. Yeah, we have dropped down from 4th place. The Jehetma Dominion have pretty much become in our place. Raxacodiums leverage their council powers to declare the slave trade or ban organic slave trade. Okay, fair enough.
Station under attack.
Transmission from Zuracor. Which is not them, interestingly enough. Yes, one of our... Oh no, not our science ships. Our, that's interesting. They weren't able to take that. So we are now at 21% war exhaustion. Let's have a look here. 3.4 on the station, so we should be able to take that without too much issue. And then we can potentially sweep down here and start taking out the fleets that have been coming down into our territory. So, and a shame, the enigmatic cache departs Everim. And traditions. So leader lifespan by 20 years, just to give us a bit more of a boost on that.
Rocking up to enemy fleet. Hostile fleet rumbled.
Okay, we are... Wow, we are ripping through that. That is good to see. Now, I don't think we need to necessarily take their territory. So, demanding surrender minus 100, bring into the fold war goal minus 100. So yeah, we can pretty much just come through and take as much territory as we can manage. So you are trying to flee down into here and we will just chase you.
Rocking up to enemy fleet.
So you do have 5,500 there, so I'm hoping our second fleet should spawn. Oh, there we go, that's just what I was saying. It is quite busy trying to manage all of your research when you're in a war. So fleet command limit there. And battleship build cost and speed. Reduce that because we will probably need some of that before too long. So you are being repaired. That is good. So battleship, how long will that take to build? A year and a half more or less. So it probably would be better to make sure we have, instead we can build 2 ships at a time here. So 2 cruisers at the same amount of time. Actually 2 cruisers will be quicker to build here than a battleship, seeing as we have a minus 20% build cost and a plus 45% build speed. So this was 11 ships. Yes, so we'll just reinforce this fleet, build up its fleet power back again, and then hope
Rolling away from enemy fleet.
before...
Starbase under attack.
Of course you would. Thank you, Raxacodiums. So, you know what? We'll bring you into the fold as well. We'll set that as our war goal. And Drasticon Station. We have 1 shipyard. So if I replace one of our hangar bays
Innovation
with a shipyard and we create ourselves a 3rd fleet, not that one. And so we are going to have to be a bit careful here because we have various ships and fleets around. But if I reinforce that one, yes, it's everyone around me seems to like testing their strength and luck when I'm already in a war. So the plasma accelerators, hyperdrive transit hubs. So yes, hyperdrive 2, hyperdrive charge time minus 25%. I'll go for the fire control. So anyway, we should have a fleet being built up at Durascadon Station where we can actually come through and fight the Raxacodiums off. Hopefully that is going to be strong enough. They dropped a deck on you mid-war. Pretty opportunistic if you ask me. Yeah, well, admittedly, I can't blame them because or maybe not necessarily so much here because we've been like focused on most people attacking us, but other strategy games like Crusader Kings 2, I do tend to do the same thing where it's like we come through and they start attacking, or I start attacking them because they're in the middle of a war and things are not going their way. Speaking of, we have a worker unemployed here and you cannot see it, but my cat has decided to come over and investigate. Come on, I'm trying to record here. Please don't step on my keyboard. Oi, anyway, precinct houses, so we could actually increase that. Do we have... So our warlord now has the recruiter trait. That sounds fun. Do we have any planets that are not blockaded, that have high crime? We seem to be all right. And let's see. What would you benefit the most from? You don't have anything that you are or deficient in. We are deficient in a couple of rare materials here, but seeing as our economy is doing pretty well, I would say we can remove those and then come back here and so I could do some chemical plants, or it might be worth turning over a bit of my production over to getting like the motes, gases and crystals actually created on planets rather than just harvesting them. But for lack of another option, let's go for admin offices there, and we can do a city district there because I notice there's a slight lack of amenities. Okay, so you are coming up across there. Oh yes, and Rob says my cat does the same thing when he wants attention. Well, my cat's pretty good. He doesn't tend to wander over onto my desk that often. It's just he has a very good habit of knowing like all of the shortcuts and button presses for things like web browsers and whatnot. Like there was one time I think he managed to like open a new window, enter in a search term, press enter, go to the search results and actually select one of them somehow. So Rayubs have decided to attack me. So what? Oh goodness. Okay, what can we do? So we have plunder, humiliate, or bring into the fold again. Oh. I'm blaming you for this, Rob. You said to go to war against someone, but okay. So I will just set everyone to be brought into the fold. So let's just actually bring this up. Where are we? So if we surrender to this, we have to adopt the ethos and government of the Desticans, and our leader is forced to abdicate. For this one, it looks like we will cede some systems, and again that we will again cede some systems. Right, so we are fighting a war on 3 sides. Technically 5 if you include the empires that the Raxicodiums are allied against. Yes, it is indeed open system on our empire. Thankfully, it looks like we have some relief. So we have... Oh goodness. Okay, we have pretty much reached the stream time, and I think I am going to need to come back to this with a clear head and a plan of action on how we are going to approach it, because I think we may have to potentially let some of our territories be sacrificed while we deal with one containment threat at a time. Rob, this is indeed going to be interesting, indeed. So let me just quickly check a few things. So I think indeed we are going to leave it there, and the next stream of Stellaris is... I may actually swap it around with my City Skylines one, so that will be this weekend, Friday or Saturday. If you keep an eye on my channel page and have a look at my schedule, you will be notified obviously of when that comes up. The next stream in general will be on Wednesday and will be a Cities Skylines one, where we will continue building our city up. So yes, indeed, what a cliffhanger. Well, after the previous few ones where we ended just after winning a war, we are finishing where we are just getting started. Hoofkins, thank you very much for staying around and watching, and I hope to see you again in our next stream. For today though, I think that is us. Thank you to everyone who's popped in and watched, and also thank you to anyone who has been watching this replay either on Twitch itself or on my channel on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. It has been an interesting episode, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye for now.